That's what I'm telling them not to do.
Right.
I'm telling them, like, a lot of times when they use that scenario or any scenario about men, how they approach relationships, like, they need to take accountability for themselves and some of the narratives that they tell themselves. You understand what I'm saying? So that way you can start to recognize that shit. And at the end of the day, hey, there's a lot of motherfuckers that need therapy. Like, I would never say not to get it, because you can have trauma that set that tone for you to start having those narratives, but you also have to take accountability for what are you doing to attract that. Like, I heard a woman one time say, well, what did I do to deserve motherfuckers that are not worthy of coming up to me and approaching me and asking me out for dates, this and that? And that's when you need to really look at yourself, because there are, like, me, for example, like, motherfuckers don't really approach me like that, like asking to borrow money and shit like that. Like, I have that type of personality. Well, maybe that just comes off on me.
Not ask him.
You see what I'm saying? Nah, if it's a motherfucker that's constantly trying you, asking you for money, taking you for money, you need to ask yourself, what is it about me that makes people come to me, then automatically start saying, "Hey, let me borrow like $500."
That's my love. That's who I mean.
So what are you doing that makes them come straight to, let me take you for some money, and then 9 times out of 10 you probably don't even get the money back.
And see, this is my come to Jesus moment, because that was a narrative that I had in my head since, I don't know, my first high school boyfriend, because I would give him my paycheck to flip. So in my head, the funny thing is, I mean, I can't do nothing about it now. You know, but when that happened to me, I went forward in life like motherfuckers always gonna ask for something. And it turns out that they always did. They weren't always asking for my check to flip. But that has been a continuous narrative for me in relationships, is that I was the breadwinner, I was the earner, and I took care of the person I was with. Even the guy that I dated that had more money than me, I kept a jar. And like, through extra cash in it, change or whatever, and he would collect that jar, cash it in. He had more money than I did.
So he had more money than
and somehow I still attracted a person who had more money than me. I still attracted a person that would take from me. Mm-hmm. So it had to be the energy. It had to be the energy that I had been putting out since I was 17, 18 years old, dealing with men like that.
So have you
because
seen
how do you meet a man with more money than you that still you're giving to?
I watched this.
That's crazy, right?
I watched this episode one time of the Flintstones, and I remember Fred saying, "Do I have sucker written on my forehead?" And he looked in the mirror, and this sucker just came straight across. And whether you believe it or not, in this cruel world that we live in, you probably got the word sucker on your forehead, and a lot of times,
but that's.
And a lot of times,
that's energy. Is what it is.
And a lot of times, people can pick that up immediately. Like, I can't say like how it comes off, but like when I meet people, I've met even my niece. This is a better example. My niece was like, I was scared to death of you, and I had to realize you're my uncle. So for some whatever reason, people say I'm intimidating. So when I'm in a room, it's just something about me. But I don't put off that type of energy.
I beg to differ.
See, that's what I'm saying. But you putting off the energy like, I gotta have it, sucker. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that someone like, I can take her for everything. Like, even when you like in Vegas, and they probably like walk up to you and be like, "Hey, you want to take this timeshare?"
It happened in Atlanta. It happens everywhere. You know,
did you get got?
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. You got sucker on your forehead, and you got to find something to rub that off.
Well, this is the argument that I have with that. Since it's been happening to me over and over again, that I end up with people who take. How do I get away from that energy or putting out that energy when it's something that has followed me around for so long that it's something that I'm constantly watching for. It's kind of like on the highway. I know I don't like big semi trucks. So the whole time I'm on the road, I'm making sure in my rear view it's not one coming up on me, and I'm looking forward to make sure if I'm coming up on one that I'm far away and I zoom past it. That's the same thing in relationships. You know what you're scared of. So those are the things you're going to look for. But at the same time, if you let fear manifest like that, then you're putting out the energy. You're gonna attract it. So I get the law of attraction. I get all that. What I'm trying to figure out, since this is kind of a help show, a self-help show, how do you avoid that when you gotta look for an accident so you don't run into it? You gotta be aware.
You know what?
So it's kind of weird. It feels weird to say don't pay attention to red flags or triggers, or don't.
No, I'm not saying don't do that. But what I will say is this. You need to recognize your weaknesses. And a lot of times, everybody, they got Indians and chiefs, and everybody can't be the same. Like, you have to recognize, like, what you are. You have certain people who are leaders. You have certain people that were followers. You have people that pick up trash, and you have the person in the office. Like, you have to recognize who you are. If you're not a good negotiator, you would negotiate. You would get somebody to negotiate.
Right.
If you don't do your taxes, not everybody, but if you don't do your taxes, you get a tax person.
Right.
So if you're the type of person that's like, damn, every time you need a bodyguard, or you need someone, in your case, you need a man, you know what I'm saying, that would navigate you through those times that where you don't feel comfortable saying no,
he'll say no.
There's someone in the room that'll be like, no, thank you.
We ain't got
You know
it.
what I'm saying? So that's the best way to kind of get into that scenario to do that. And that's just like to help you